My name is Seon Jang here in the United States. I was born in Seoul, South Korea, and I have lived in the United States for two decades almost. I studied Western painting in college and photography in grad school. And since then, I have pursued my studio practice in New York City. Today, I focus on creating three-dimensional works, installation works that explore how materials and space can convey personal and cultural and social narratives. I define installation art as a creation of an environment rather than a single object, an experience that immerses viewers spatially and engages multiple senses. My interests began with working on everyday objects and discovering how their arrangement could shift perception and uncover hidden narratives. Growing up in 1970s and 80s South Korea under an authoritarian regime deeply shaped my worldview. During the democratic movement against the military government, I witnessed state violence, the suppression of dissent, and an education system that reduced complex realities into binaries, north and south, good and evil, communism and democracy. These experiences attuned me to how meaning is constructed and inspire my ongoing interest in questioning structures and revealing complexity. My father also a profound influence. Although came from a military family and studied political science, he became a pop musician and a passionate collector of objects. His collection ranged from numberless shoes and suits and to musical instruments, even a harp, as well as artist books filled with um, kind of Greek statues and Renaissance paintings and modernist masters. He introduced me to aesthetics, music, and art at a young age, and I developed a fascination with the design of objects. These early influences converge in my practice today, where I work with everyday materials to uncover alternative narratives and hidden histories, always seeking freedom from predetermined structures. That shift was a pivotal because I stopped making work to fit market expectations and began trusting my own narrative. I realized my deepest artistic impulse came from my history. Professionally, it gave me clarity and purpose, opening opportunities where my work could be appreciated more on its own terms rather than for market alignment. My process often begins with found objects, their names, functions, and the meanings attached to them. When I moved to the US, I had to relearn how to identify the world through a new language, English, which made me contemplate how the identity and function of things are constructed. I transform objects by disrupting their roles, creating tension between the familiar and the unfamiliar, and inviting viewers to question assumptions. Through recontextualization, objects shed fixed meanings and open themselves to new associations. I begin by acknowledging the object's historical and cultural weight. For me, reinterpretation is not about erasing its meaning, but expanding it. By shifting its context or function, I aim to open new ways of understanding while allowing the object to hold space for both memory and transformation. I don't have a single favorite material. I'm drawn to the potential within any object to reveal new conceptual or aesthetic possibilities. Each carries its own history, function, and cultural resonance. And I respond to what it can reveal when recontextualized. Sometimes the title comes first, inspired by the word's sound, history, or associations. Other times it emerges after the piece take shape. I think of language as a mnemonic device that anchors memory and invites multiple interpretations. Titles guide the viewer toward the tension between the familiar and the reimagined. I aim to suggest rather than dictate by shifting context, materials, and spatial arrangements. I invite viewers to see familiar things differently while leaving space for their own experiences. I see the audience as active participants. Meaning emerges through their engagement as each person brings their own perspective and memories, completing the dialogue between object, context, and idea. My understanding of identity has shifted from a personal focus on displacement and dual belonging to a broader view of identity as a dynamic and shaped by our social and cultural systems. This evolution informs my artistic voice. I use objects and space to create experiences that embody these complexities. Today, my work explores how materials carry personal and collective histories, inviting viewers to reflect on their own identities within wider cultural and social context. I see my work as a reinterpretation of the world we already live in. Uh, Beginning with everyday objects, I shift their context to reveal hidden cultural and political narratives. In doing so, the work opens imaginative space not as an escape from reality, but as a way to experience it differently and consider new possibilities of belonging and seeing. Mm. Everyday objects carry material histories and cultural associations. They're not neutral. I consider their use, accessibility, and embedded systems, then reconfigure them through repetition, transformation, or shifting function. So they reveal symbolic or systematic meanings. Placing familiar objects in unfamiliar context encourages viewers to reconsider the everyday as socially and politically charged. The show title Minor Landscaping is about diaspora and Asian immigration and how everyday objects can reshape the environments we inhabit. I use ordinary things, fences, paint swatches, fortune cookie slips, found signs, and recontextualize them to reveal hidden histories and questions of belonging. In that sense, landscaping is both literal and metaphorical. It's about altering a habitat, transforming spaces of displacement into spaces that feel living, familiar, and open to new meaning. Altogether, the show is about how identity and belonging are constantly remade through acts of minor landscaping, reshaping what feels unfamiliar into something we can live with, and transforming the everyday into a ground for memory and possibility. Half Moon is a sculptural installation of black velvet and cowhide that at first appears as black awning, but reveals itself as an auto-playing drum. Its steady, mechanical rhythm evokes both heartbeat and ritual, reflecting on the immigrant pursuit of the American dream, an enduring promise that remains distant, yet continues to drive persistence and longing. Two Sunrise is a site-specific installation at the Korea Society that transforms a gallery column into a lighthouse-like structure clad in plastic siding. At a height of 8 feet, two windows frame sunrise alarm programmed to glow at different times each day. 6:10 a.m. for New York City and 5 p.m. for Seoul, corresponding to 6:30 a.m. local time in Korea. Living in the United States for 25 years, I continue to measure my life against Korean time, translating between languages, systems of measurement, and cultural frameworks. This dual sunrise embodies the split horizon of immigrant consciousness, where two places, two times, and two identities coexist, never fully merging, yet continuously illuminating one another. The Fence of Fence reimagines a seesaw framed in stainless steel fencing, a material familiar in Korea but newly present in the United States through Asian immigrants. Playing on the words defense and offense, the work reflects on US immigration and border struggles with questions of protection, exclusion, and belonging. Color theory is constructed from paint swatches sourced at a local Home Depot, precisely cut and arranged to mimic the structured form of military ribbon. The work reflects on how color functions as a marker of hierarchy and power, just as military ribbons encode rank and achievement through order hues. Social systems in the US assign status based on skin color. An awareness that struck me only after moving from Korea, where skin color carried little social weight. Through this arrangement of swatches, the piece interrogates the intersection of color, authority, and identity across cultures. Jesus is Coming is a found advertisement, a yellow plastic board with a red text that echoes the visual language of a traditional Korean amulet, historically believed to repel evil from the household. Both objects, whether religious or superstitious, represent forms of conviction and faith. The work draws a parallel to the American dream to me, suggesting that, like these signs, it functions as a promise or belief that people pursue, often with a devotion, despite uncertainty of its fulfillment. Peace Be With You once contained the artist's piece inside a dome-shaped leaded door glass frame, which now remains as condensation and displayed on the cut-open gallery wall, revealing the wall's interior through leaded door glass. Using the territorial and communicative nature of Yuri marking, the work reflects on home, territory, ownership, and the contested boundaries inherent. One year transforms daily lunches at a Taiwanese restaurant near my studio into a year-long calendar of fortune-telling papers. These small ritualized objects act as a code of conduct, tracing the rhythm of my body, uh, the passage of time, and the aspirations. Through repetition and accumulation, the work turns the everyday into a meditation on routine, discipline, and possibility. New York's diversity and constant exchange of ideas definitely have been essential to my growth as an artist. The greatest challenge has been sustaining a career amid high cost and intense competition, which has pushed me to become very resourceful and adaptive. The most fulfilling aspect is the connections with artists, curators, and communities that allow the work to have a life beyond the studio.